Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm playing my music. I hope you can hear it. USA. I don't know if y'all recognize these voices on here, but I'm about to let you know. And make me whole. Listen, today I have coming to the brilliant stage, Miss Lady Mock. Miss Lady Mock, you guys got a glimpse of Lady Mock. I'm trying to tell you right now. Say hello to people.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, it is so good to have you on the show today. I am so excited about what you're about to share, which is just your journey. And I love how God has rescued you
Yes.
before and put you where you are now. And so, guys, we had a song playing when it's like so many years ago. I think I was like,
Early 20s, maybe?
We were like early 20s. And I had done a solo project and with a gentleman, God rest his soul.
Yes.
Lora, she was singing on there, honey. And every time this song comes on in my car, I'm hearing her sing, "You rescue me from the enemy. Now I can see what I was meant to be." Come on, Lora. You saved my soul. And
Say me
now I can see. Come on.
where I was meant to be.
All right. Yes. Yes. All right, you got it.
Off in the beginning because it's been a while. But
Wow. It has been a while. How have you been?
I have been wonderful. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for asking me, for thinking of me. I'm really, 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 really excited to be here. And I love the fact that you are doing you and that you are evolving into who you were meant to be. And just to see where we are now from back then is a blessing.
Oh my gosh. It really is. It's been a journey, right?
Yes, it has.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Well, I want to start off because I brought you on here because I want to honor you. And I've been watching your life throughout these years and
Wow.
how you have become such a brilliant, classy. You've always been this, but how you have evolved into what God has already called you to be and do as a mother, as a wife, as a mother, as a minister, as an educator. Like you are educating at your students' school, your children's school, and making it even better. Like you have that connection. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And not only that, you have your own business and you have your own book.
Yes.
Let's dig into the book because the book is basically our title. So we'll share on the banner again our title for this interview in just a little bit. But I really want you all to kind of go with us in that title because a lot of people are dealing with not being able to overcome self-doubt. They don't know how to have their own identity from their family.
Yes.
I have the perfect person on here who can talk to you about being a dope mom. A dope woman of God, a dope wife, a dope mother, daughter, sister. Like you have it, and she's somebody. So Miss Lora, Lady Mock, honey, Lady Mock has always been a firecracker. So as soon as
Yes.
I stop talking, you're gonna hear her. She's gonna be going, you know, because she has just gone through so many things and continues to go through them, but with grace, but with class and with beauty. And she gets better and better with every challenge. And so I want to honor you, your book, your organization. Like there's so much. So let's
Thank you so much.
how did you get who are you and how did you get here?
Well, I'm still learning who I am. I have not yet arrived, and I'm in a different place now than years ago because I've been doing something lately called self examination, which is examining yourself. And I'm asking God questions about me. And those are, I've been digging real deep in, who am I? Where, the things that I've gone through. Why have I gone through them? Why have I allowed myself to go through certain things? And so I would always, just kind of, turn my plate down and say, well, God, what's really going on? And he's been answering me. And I mean, it's been crazy. So I'm learning who I am as we speak.
I love that. That means
Yeah.
that the journey doesn't end like when you don't always have it together, like you're always learning as you go.
Yes, very much so.
Not a lot of people are open to doing that. Where did that come from? Like, what are some of your core values as you've been growing up, and things that maybe you learned in your family to do, to not, and not to do?
To do. I'm very family orientated. Is that how they call it?
Yeah.
Because it's how I was raised. My family was raised very tight knit. And I'm not talking about a family of five. I'm talking about 50 of us. We would just go to our aunt's house. She would call and say, well, hey, I'm cooking. And there was no reason, there was no special date. It was just because. So from doing that as a child until now, I love my family very, very much. And so I'm all about family. I'm all about togetherness, and just keeping the family close. So children and family are very, very, very much a part of my heart.
Talk to me about a little about childhood and how you evolved from like maybe being shy, having some doubt, maybe it was a position in your family that you were in that you felt like maybe overlooked. Talk to me a little bit about that.
As a child, I believe I was always the most outgoing
Okay.
compared to my sisters. My sisters were very quiet, still are to this day. And I was the one that I could walk, and I still do to this day. I could walk into a room and start talking to anybody, and I would get in the most trouble. So, I just was viewed as that person. And I think into my adulthood now, I'm still the same person, but there are some things that I look back into my family and wonder why I may have been treated a certain way or felt like, a certain way. And those, again, I can only revert back to what I said in the beginning because that's where I'm at, is to just asking God those questions
Mm.
and trying to do the research as to why I may have felt hurt in this situation or whatever the case may be. But as far as my childhood, I was always the life of the party, or so I thought I was. So if that answers the question.
Oh yeah, because I'm telling you, get about it. You be like, listen, here we go. Let's go.
I don't play no games. Now, see, into my adulthood, I'm learning to get back to that, but in a respectful way, because along the journey, dealing with different people and different folks, I've learned to be quiet and I've learned to keep my peace. And for some time, I looked at that as weakness, but it's not weakness, it's wisdom. And
Mm.
it's being smart on how you conduct yourself, because you don't always have to let somebody know where it is and how to get there, even though you want to. It's ways of learning how to conduct yourself. And I find myself now where I'm straddling the fence, because now I'm ready to knuck if you buck. But then there's a part of me that's like, no, stay how you were and God will honor you.
Hmm. Okay, well, in your book, and I'm gonna like go to the front of it because you talk a little
Sure.
bit about your story, you talk a little bit about who you are, but I wanted to read this portion, and then I want you to respond. Let me know
Sure.
where this come from. So it says we all go through ups and downs, hardships, and sometimes situations we may not even understand at times. So just for a point of reference, everyone, I need you all to get this book. It's called Emerging Victorious. So you seen that on the flyer,
Yes.
Emerging Victorious. So we'll put that in the caption. Emerging Victorious While Fighting for What You Love by Lora A. Mock. And
Yes.
I love that. And on the front, and I'll even just share my screen because I need you all to go and get this book. I need you to read it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You all to understand that you can emerge victoriously. You can. We talked last week with our other guests about hope, and so we have the hope, but now it's time to emerge into it. Come on, let's go. And so, Lora, first of all, Lady Mock, how'd you come up with this title?
It's so crazy because I was going through a very tough time in the part of my life. And I had a person reach out to me through Facebook Messenger.
Mhm.
And the person is a family friend, pastor. And the person and I never really talked all like that, but I happened to open up my message at the time I was going through, and it said, Laura, God, you rest on my heart. And God said to tell you that through every trial you face, you will emerge victorious. And that got me through one of the hardest times of my life. I used to go back and say, well, what do those words mean? And then I would recite it back and say to God, well, these are things that you said. So when I was writing my book, it actually was just a journal, just journaling. And my nephew was here one time, and we were discussing some of the things he was dealing with that I wrote in my journal to self heal me. And he goes, well, Auntie, maybe you should put it into a book. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. But the title of my book was going to be called Stuck at first because I thought I was. And then God quickly reminded me of the messenger that I received, that through every trial you face, you will emerge victorious. And so that is really how that came about.
Wow. How have you emerged victoriously? What's one,
Um,
two ways that you feel like you've emerged victoriously? Because I know it says on, like we go through ups and downs. What's one way that you can encourage people that you have emerged victoriously?
Man, that's a big question. I feel that I have emerged victorious in so many ways. One, in finding who I am, and when we're all going to go through things in life, and nothing is going to be easy. But you have to ask yourself: Are you a winner or are you a quitter?
Mm.
My mother didn't raise no quitter. So therefore, I decided to stay in the fight and fight to the finish. And the Bible says, in the end, we always win. So I said, well, then I'm going to win, and I'm going to fight until I get the win. And so a lot of times when we go through things where, doesn't matter what it is, it's easy to throw in the towel and give up, and we don't want to do the work, but nothing is easy. This life we live is not easy. And so my book and where I'm based off is a lot of God, because you'll hear me speak about that. But that is who I live for, and that is who has brought me through some of the toughest things in my life. And so I made a lot of it through him, believing in him, trusting in his word, reading and learning his word for myself, and standing on what it says, and to believe for myself that I can do it.
Mm. But how has I love, wow. I have to ask you this because I'm not, I've not walked in your shoes and you can only speak to do that and to have like maintain your relationship with God, follow him and to victory, raise
Yes.
a family, be a wife and a mother. And especially, so I know your husband, he's a
Yes.
businessman and everything. To
Yes.
like, I know what it takes to start a business, and so do you. That's a lot. And to even like follow his lead, but then also be that backbone to support him.
Yes.
Plus, you have how many kids?
4.
Oh, they're amazing. I love them all. They're so sweet. I,
Thank you.
children, do that. Plus, be so close knit with your own family, taking care of your own family, going through some of your own like
Yes.
growing up family, like, and then and then have another family. How do you do? How do you maintain your peace, sanity to do those things?
It's hard at times, but I just put on the game face and I just roll because it has to be done. And so sometimes I don't even know. I don't even know how I do it. I just kind of do it. But I do have those times where, yeah, I am frustrated. I do kind of get like, I need a moment because it's a lot that I carry. And, again, like with my husband, being his, I call myself his eyes and his ears.
Mm,
So a lot of times he can't see the things that I can see. And so that's a job that I decided to say, all right, let me just back up and let God have his way. Cause I see a lot of stuff and I'm like, I don't like this and I don't like this and I don't like that, and he's just kind of like, okay, wait, so, it's just, the only answer I can give you is that it's by the grace of God. And when I get those times, I have to step away and just kind of woosah and breathe and get myself back in the game, because again, I am raising 4 kids, and I take them everywhere. It's all, most of it is on me. And so, and now with one of the new businesses, which we'll get to in a little bit, that we have now that I'm kind of, doing. It's fun. It's a lot, but it's just by the grace of God. It just keeps me going. And that's all I can say.
Laura, so you wrote this book, and I want to let's walk into that. Let's walk into your new business. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember when you wrote this book. I was just so proud of you. I remember you were going through the process. You were like, "I'm doing this in silence." What was
Yes.
the importance of you doing and writing that book in silence? And even the moment that you decided, "I'm putting this out there. I'm going to overcome any doubt that I had," because I remember we had conversations. If you don't even mind me saying, sharing, we had
Not at all.
we're like, okay, I got to get this out there. There's just so much inside of me, and I just don't know if I'm worthy enough, if I'm good enough. Like,
Yes.
what do I do? Like, what was your turning point to from that?
My turn. I just once my nephew said to turn it into a book, I then went back into the journal and began to name them chapters, and it was like a fire ignited in me. And for me, the small things is what matters to me. So a lot of times people will look at me or look into my life and they see what they think they see, the glitz, the glam, the whatever it is that people think. But if you get to know me personally, it's the little things that matter. And so when we talk about legacy, my husband is extremely big on legacy. I had to ask myself, Lord, what is the legacy that you want to leave for your kids? Now, yes, we're together as one, but personally. And that is why I was like, it's time to go, because my book, in my personal opinion, I wrote it for others to help them, to let them know that they can overcome. But I also wrote it for my children. That is the legacy that I will leave. And I'm going to be writing more books as God downloads. But the legacy, the reason I wrote it is a legacy to leave for my children so that they can go back and say, well, if mommy did it, then I can do it. If mommy went through this, then I can go through this. If mommy pushed, then I can push. And, it goes passed down from my grandkids to my grandkids to my great grandkids to whoever, so that they'll look back and be like, wow, grandma was all that in a bag of chips. She was able to press forward, have a relationship with God. I put things in there that they can go back and see. So that was my driving force to get it out there and to get it done.
Oh, wow. You know what's beautiful about that? I literally was just talking to someone about like how our children are watching us.
Yes.
They're watching. They know. We know. We were watching our parents. We know what was going on. We may not have fully understood
That's right.
when they were going through stuff and still trying to push through. We knew
Yes.
whenever they were like, everything's okay, and we really wasn't.
That's right.
We felt something was wrong. But I think the beauty of what you said is like my kids can say, "Wow, she persevered, she pushed through." I think that is. I mean, you've gone through a lot. I know you even.
Yes, I have.
Even with the loss of your father, right? Like,
Yes. Yes.
we want to go there, but to
No,
even,
that's fine. It's totally fine.
I think that like when my connection to you was thinking like, wow, just the love you have for your family, even
Yes.
of challenges.
Yes.
And your character said so much. I remember whenever you were going through that, and I just seen the strength that you had. You had all these emotions. You had anger, you had this, you had excitement, but I'm going to push it. You had all this stuff, but yet and still, I felt there was a peace around you.
Yes, absolutely.
What would you say to somebody who is maybe going through loss of a loved one, going through loss of like feeling like they're losing themselves?
Yes.
Going through a space where they're going through the motions as a mother, as an educator, as a wife, and feeling like, what would you say to them right now in this moment? Like maybe something you would have said to yourself, or you might have said to yourself to get you here. What would you say to them? And I'm going to spotlight you so that you can talk.
Oh man, I want to be able to say the right thing and that it makes sense. At that time, losing my father, it happened very suddenly. So it shook me and took me off guard. And I didn't understand certain things. And I was in a place where I was grateful because before my father's passing, I didn't have such a great relationship with him by choice. I was a daddy's girl my whole life, which if you get my book, you'll really see the whole story. So I won't go into everything. But I had made up with my dad a year before his passing because I said, I don't want to lose, you don't know how long your parents are going to be here, so I don't want to lose the opportunity to be with him. But it was based off of what I heard, or maybe some things I saw tend to kind of push me away. So when he passed, I was shocked, but I was also grateful at the way that I was able to make that. So when you say I had a peace and a strength, that again comes from God. 2 days, a couple days for his birthday, we would always go out with my sisters and I, my father. And God had put something in my spirit very strongly to call his mother and father and his brother and sister and nieces for us all to get together and go out to dinner. And he was like, "Oh, I just wanted it to be us." But I was like, "Yeah, but this is a push and I can't get this fire feeling out of me." Well, that was the last day that everyone except his mother, including myself, saw my father. So I felt like God gave that to me to get that together for all of us to see. And I was extremely grateful. So I leaned on God a lot with that loss, with, helping me get through. So it's hard for those that don't have a relationship with God, because it's just like the world just crumbles around you. See, but when you have God in your life, it gives you a peace that passes all understanding that a lot of people don't understand. So, I speak from that point of view. But to speak to those that don't know, it's just getting help, getting counseling. Losing someone is not easy, and it's something that after time gets a little bit better, but you never forget. And I, even still to this day, I look back like who I was back then is not who I am now, and I cry frequently when it comes to mine, that my father doesn't get the chance to see who I am today. The fact that I wrote a book, he would be so proud of me, and to see how I've went on to have three more children after his passing, and how I'm raising them, and how the business. I mean, he would just look at me like, "Who in the world is this person?" And so that plays with me a lot. And I have my times where I cry, but God is the reason why. Honest to God, every question that is asked, it goes back to God, because I would not be where I am today. I would not be going through so much my whole entire life. I would not have made it with God. And during this self examination I spoke of in the beginning, if I could only tell it all of how God has really shown me my years of rejection that I've dealt with, my years of hurt. He told me right where it stemmed from. And so now my next question with God is to say, okay, what's next? How do I move next? So every and anything, I'm telling you, it's only God for me.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful, Lord, Lady Mock. I love it. And you can see right next to us, you can go right on Amazon and grab, please, and go on her and support her. I think when you understand that people have a story and have an impact on the world, there's so many books out here, but there's certain books that are tied to authentic. Like they're authentic life, authentic stories. So when you talked about your dad and you talked about your relationship, there's so many people out there that are fighting for what they love, their families, fighting to be the best of themselves. But I feel like you keep on saying remedy to really get there is to have self-reflection and allow God to lead you there.
Absolutely.
Every step of the way. Step of the way. And I think that's one thing I want to leave you all with before we go and talk about what you're doing right now. I want you all to understand that self-reflection is key all along the way. Like even that keen sense of, I just knew I needed to be with him. I just knew that was God. Like that's so beautiful. And in relationships matter. Our relationships matter. Our children watching us and how we deal with our relationships with our parents, with our bosses, with our children are watching us. And so you all know my platform is for educators, and I believe that everybody is educating somebody somewhere.
Absolutely.
So in the banner in a minute where you're about to see, see that. I need you all to understand. Everybody is educating somebody somewhere, whether it's in the home. And Laura, if you go, Lady Mott, if you go
That's
on,
right.
if you go on to her social media, you will see all her and her family. She is constantly educating her children
Yes,
on the good times and the bad times. There are times that she's just like, even if she gets frustrated and gets angry and whatever, she is teaching them, this is what mommy's dealing with. This is what's going on. This is
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. Then you see her supporting her children. Like, I
Yes,
think that's beautiful. And then actually, so let's go into this. Actually going into the schools and creating experiences and being a part of her children's education. Like, I love that. Talk to us about that.
yes. So I just want to piggyback on something you said. I do that with my children, which is, funny you said that, because when I am frustrated and I do have my moments, I do go back to my children and say, well, mommy was a little bit off, but or I am frustrated or whatever the case may be. I will talk to my children and let them know exactly why I said what I said or why I was the way I was in that moment. So there's an open dialogue and an understanding. When my kids switched schools last year, and when I got to this school, it was dropped in my spirit to do a talent show. I love children. I always have. They are very dear and near to my heart. And so I was like, can I have a talent show? Could there be a talent show? I knew, like, I was in there, like, they're going to know, that I am very much involved in my children's life and in their education, and that I just want to do something to make it fun. And the principal and another gentleman had already, was thinking of the idea. So when we got paired up, that was it. And it is actually a talent show that myself and the other guy, Joe, with the help of the principal, we're putting on, and it'll be on May 11th. It is for all grades. So in that school district, or in that school, so from grades K to fourth grade, and then we're going to have a program at the evening with the parents. And I am super thrilled. I'm like doing the most, getting a backdrop. We got some sneak surprises in there for the kids, got some trophies going. Gonna get some flowers for the girls just to see the bravery for the men and the girls to just come out and do what they do. But I don't know, it just was dropped in my spirit and I ran, and my heart and goal is to make it a continuation, because this is something that they can always go back. And then prior to going to the school, they had a little mishap where a gentleman was allowed into the school to use the bathroom, but he was doing other things, and so he got caught. And so when I started to go to the school, I felt like the school needed a change, needed a new leaf, and needed to shake off all of that confusion, and to move forward. Because one thing that they don't know about me, and maybe if they watch this, they gonna see, I'm a woman of prayer. You understand me? And ain't nobody, while my children are up on that premises, they not gonna enter in,
Mm.
because I serve the Lord God. And I am telling you, no hurt, harm, and danger gonna come to none of those children while the mocks are up in that building. So I wanted to just shake that off and make a change and make the kids have fun and forget that they were, put in a lot of danger.
You know what's beautiful about that? You walking in your and in all your dopeness, all your brilliance. There's these things that you're writing and doing, and there's things that you're doing at home, but you are positively affecting the learning environment. Exactly. Like, how can parents positively shift the learning environment, especially when you have faith? You're a woman of faith, integrity, woman of God. When you step into that place, you pray. Many people who know me, I walk around them schools.
That's right.
Every year I
Right.
pray for them babies, and no, we're not having hurt, harm, or danger coming towards them. How can you pull in your parents in a positive way to really take off the load? So my educators who are watching, it is possible. There are
Yes,
parents
it
who are
is.
steady mom, like, so she's willing to come in and support in some and work in certain ways. So being able to set the stage and tone for collaborative working together. Like, I would love to have you in my school. You putting on performances and things. And let me just ask you, how do your children respond to that? Like, do you think that it empowers them to do better, or are they embarrassed? Like, what are the things?
Well, I think they're super duper excited to see me there, because I also try to like help out and volunteer as well, and they're excited. But when I was like, guys, I'm doing this talent show, and my own kids don't want to do it, so I was kind of bummed out. But my daughter stays at the practices and watches. I think that they are excited and proud, but nervous to do the talent show. But I think they're happy every chance and every time that they see me. I see my kids when I'm volunteering. I'm like, how many times do you have to go to the bathroom? But they ask the teacher to go to the bathroom to sneak and see me, and I love it. So I think they love it.
I love it. We all have to work together, and I think
Yes,
just knowing that you're there makes them feel more comfortable. There's a lot of things that are happening in our school and in
yes,
our
yes,
world, and have been for a long time, and even have been amplified since
yes,
COVID, and then all these shootings and things like that. So having prayer and having pillars of prayer in your building and your classroom supporting, there's sometimes there's a negative connotation. I was just at the in Harrisburg speaking, and one of the education committee representatives, she was like, these parents, the parents, they need to let the teachers teach and do their job. And sometimes there's negative connotations around like families being involved, but it doesn't have to be. It's what we
right.
make it. It's what we
That's
make.
right.
You know, you said there was a horrible situation, and
Yes,
it was like, no, I'm going to come in and shift the environment from my standpoint, the way that I can do it, and
yes,
actually bring life and excitement to the school, and actually a helping
yes.
hand. So thank you for what you do and how you educate in our in your children's lives,
Thank you.
others. Thank you. And as we
Thank
close, as we end, I want you to talk to us about what you're doing right now, your new business adventure, and anything you want to share. And we will definitely put all of that in the chat so people can get on board with you.
Yes. So at this time, I have my new business adventure. It's called Events on 10. It's a event center. It is so much fun. The space is incredible, and I love it so much because I'm allowed to do what I do best, which is talk. And I love to talk, so a lot of times it's phenomenal. People will call me and ask me to show them the space. I show them the space. The space is great. It's called Events on 10. We have a website that you can look up. You can also contact myself personally, which on my phone number, which is 412-607-6978, to require an event there. All types of events are being taken there. And again, it's like a hidden gem in Monroeville that a lot of people don't know about. And so that is a new excitement for me. I've also been working on a second book, but I put it down because everything isn't done overnight. But I believe the spark is coming back, and I'm in a process of, if it's going to be a series, meaning under Emerging Victorious, and be a different, different books stimulated under that, or if I'm doing something else, because God is just it's so much to write, and even though my books are very self-told, like biography, I give keynotes and I give scriptures, and it's not all about me. It helps the person to say, if you went through this and you're struggling through this, then you can get through it, and here is how. So
I'm going to share my screen because I want them to see the website. It's awesome.
yes, thank you.
It's beautiful. So I know you've had a few events and things there, but tell me
Yes.
why you chose to do this. You have a book, you have a wonderful family, your husband has a business. Why did you choose to do this? Why did you even feel like you wanted or needed to do this?
It allows me to have flexible hours, and my son will be starting preschool in the fall. And I've never had a child. I had always was pregnant when one child would go to preschool. So this is a new year and a new season for me. And one of the things I wanted to do was to be busy. So I would not be that mother, because I've been stay-at-home mother in between those years. And I don't want to be that mother that's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I want to be busy, and I want to be doing something to where I've just got so much going on. So that was one of the reasons why I did it. And also for the flexibility, because even though he's going to be starting preschool, I still, am very involved in other things and get my children. So it was it in, my husband and I both decided that this was something that we wanted to tackle and take head on. And it's just a blessing that we have the opportunities to now run two businesses. And it's only been 2 months. And within the 2 months, we've had 36 bookings. So thanks be to God for all he has done. And the bookings just keep rolling. And so I'm blessed, honest to God.
Blessed. And you know what
Truly
you
blessed.
said? You know what you said to me that I want to make sure I'm sharing? You, even being a wife, being a mother, being active in your community and your church and all of that. You also wanted like something that you started for you too, right?
Yes.
So that's where a
Yes.
part of this had come from. And so I'm really excited to hear that. I'm glad the
Yes.
fruition, the fruit of it is just coming, and it's going to continue to come. And I think it's because, in my opinion, just knowing you all these years, you decided, like, Lord, you did it. Like, there's things you did just for me, and I've asked for, and I've prayed for, and you walked through the challenges, you walked through the fire, you walked through self-doubt, thinking that, and you still overcame that by just
Yes.
keep going, remember who you are, and most importantly, allowing God to be at the head of your life so that you can walk in the purpose that He
Yes.
has
Yes.
for you as
Absolutely.
really brought you there. Thank you so much. Can you give us just a
Yeah.
closing, any closing encouragement that you can share
Uh,
with us before we go?
Again, thank you. This was a blessing and an honor. And if I could give any encouragement, it is to just, there's so much without trying to cry because I'm a weeper. Uh, um, well, I'll leave you with this because this is actually on my wall. It helped me through many times of the hardships. So I'm speaking to those that have been through some things. And it says, always pray to have eyes that see the best in people, a heart that forgives the worst, and a mind that forgives the bad, and a soul that never loses faith in God.
Oh, I really thank you. I appreciate you, Lady Mock. I appreciate you for the woman of God that you are. I
Mm,
appreciate you for the mother and wife that you are. And I want to read your dedication because I think it's beautiful. Thank you for your closing words. She dedicates
mm,
this to her mother, Barbara, who's a strong, God-fearing woman. And the
yes,
beauty of that is you can see that her mother educated her on being this same thing.
yes,
And she does it, dedicates her book to God because He gave her the chapter. We appreciate your faith and your confidence that you got because someone was educating you so that you can have a winning life. And that is what you're going to do every day. Win, 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 no matter what. Through every trial you
that's
face
right.
and emerge. Ready? Let's say it
Vic-
together. Oh, wait, let me put
Yes,
you. And emerge victoriously. Ready? And emerge
victorious,
victoriously.
victorious. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Laura. Thank
Thank
you guys
you
for coming.
so
I'll her
much. Thank
information is
you.
in the chat. You guys can check her out. Please, please check her out. If you live in the Monroe area, you are in for a treat. Go right over to the events on 10. Listen, and get her book off of Amazon. I showed you it earlier. Let's
Yes.
go. Brilliance in the house.
Thank you